All right. So as always, if you enjoy this video, then please remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel to see more content just like this in the future. So today's the 7th day of the semester. It's a Wednesday. Today was advanced lighting design and Japanese. So today in lighting design, we learned about we continued to learn about the different lighting instruments that we might encounter during our time working in the world of theater. And so we started off with Fresnels. Fresnel lights are they're like the other ones that we found, but they're more for washes, where the other ones are more for pools of light. So a wash is a pool of light that does not have a hard edge, so it's more scattered and sort of around, where so it's not such a defined shape. And so the funny thing about the word Fresnel, it looks like Fresnel, Fresnel, but it's a Dutch word, or it's a Dutch name, because the guy who invented them had the last name Fresnel, and he was Dutch, so we call them Fresnels because of it. And he said that so one of the reasons why it's called a Fresnel, or the biggest reason why it's called a Fresnel, is because of the lens that it has. So so we have these things called plano-concave lenses, or convex lenses, which is on one side it's flat and on the other side it's rounded. And this allows for different kinds of lights. And so all that the Fresnel lens is it is one of those plano-convex lenses, but on the convex side, there are a lot of the chunks, a lot of the pieces of the lens are cut out. And so if you look at it from the side, the regular one is really smooth, and then the Fresnel lens has like ribs that go from the outward all the way to the center, kind of like the rings around a tree trunk. And so that's the major difference, and that's what causes the big wash of light that you see. And they're really good for just getting a ton of light out on stage all at the same time, because they don't get as hot as the other lights. At least I don't think that they do. And then they're really good for color washing. So if you want to get a bunch of one color on the stage all at the same time, they're really good for that as well. Then we talked about these things where, I don't remember what they were called exactly, but he said that they're super duper easy to make, because he's literally made one himself. Because literally all that you need is an old coffee can, and you got to put a light in the center, and you have it. That's the light. They're a little bit more professional looking than that, because they actually have like stands that they can swivel on, and they actually, plug in and this and that. So I don't remember what they were called exactly. But then we talked about different accessories. We talked about color scrollers. A color scroller is so in the world of theater, we have these things called gels. A gel is like a little piece of film that is a particular color, and you slide it right in front of the lens of a light, and you shine light through it, and it produces that color on the stage floor, or on stage, or something like that, against a wall or something like that. And so what a scroller is, it's a bunch of gels all in a box that's mechanical, and what it does is that it lets you switch between multiple colors very quickly in the middle of a show, instead of having to, get the ladder, climb up there, switch it out by hand, and then climb back down, which takes a lot of time and it can be dangerous. And he said that, but the thing about them is that they are they're basically obsolete, because nobody makes them anymore. But despite the fact that they're obsolete, we still use them a ton. And the reason why they're obsolete is because the major company that did make them, whenever the guy who founded the company retired, nobody wanted to take up the company. And so the company eventually went out of business, and they stopped making them altogether. And so they don't get made anymore, but we still use them a ton. But as LED lights, which I talked about a little bit the last time I made a video about my lighting class, LED lights are becoming the standard, and because they're becoming cheaper as the technology becomes more readily available. And so So now we use LEDs instead of, or now we're using color scrollers less, and we're using more LEDs. But color scrollers are way less expensive than LEDs are. But there are more downsides to using a color scroller than there are an LED. Because the biggest issue with an LED is that it's really expensive. Like even a low-end theater LED would cost a minimum of $400, and like the really nice LEDs would cost at least $1,000 probably. But then like these color scrollers, just to get the box that has the mechanism and everything inside, would be $70 or $80, and then all of the gels that you would ever need for that thing might be a few dollars each, maybe. Probably less expensive than that. And so chances are you already have all the gels that you need lying around before you even buy the color scroller. So, and then the other thing he told us is that color scrollers make a very loud, specific noise whenever they change to a new gel that you can 100% hear in the middle of a show. And that's 100% the biggest reason why you would not want to use the color scrollers, because they're loud and they're annoying. And it's going to completely unimmerse an audience if they hear that going on in the middle of a show. But he told us that one of the ways that you get around it is by, the example that he uses one of the shows we put on last semester, the audience actually sat on stage with the performers. So what it was an alley style show where all the action happens in the center and you have audience on two sides. And so he said that the issue with that is that the audience is on stage, which means that the color scrollers are literally right above our heads. We are as close to them as we're ever going to be in any play. And he said that the way that he got around it is that, let me see if I can remember this correctly. He said that the way that he got around it was start the scroll right about when the transition starts, because there's music playing during the transition, because the transitions with no music are weird. He said that you start the transition right when the music starts for the, you start the color scroll right when the music starts for the transition. By the time that the transition ends, the thing is still scrolling, but the scene is ongoing at that point, which means everyone forgets about the scrolling. Nobody even notices it, or people notice it, but then they forget about it by the end of the scene. And it worked on me because I went and saw that show and I never even noticed that there was some kind of odd color scrolling noise, because I don't actually know what it sounds like. But yeah, and so like me, I probably would have thought that it was part of the sound design, so I probably did hear it. And if you played a noise of it, I might be able to remember exactly hearing that when I went and saw that show, but I don't know exactly. And so, yeah, another fun day. My professor, he's a really cool guy. He's so funny, and he's such a funny guy. I love him. After lighting design, was Japanese. Japanese was not very eventful. It's just another lecture day where he teaches us a new word or a new way to phrase words and things like that. So today we learned about orientation. So the example that he gave us is that you have a desk and then there's a cat that's oriented in different places around the desk. And so you have to say, so the exercise we did is, where is the cat in relation to the desk? So it was something like, neko wa doko desu ka, which is, where is the cat? And then you would say, it's either left at the desk, right at the desk, it's on top of the desk, it's under the desk, it's, diagonal to the desk, something like that. And so he literally told us that getting the words for directions is all memorization. You just have to memorize the words. You just have to know what they are if you want to be able to use them well in conversation. So, but yeah, it was just another day in Japanese, another day at school. So that was the 7th day of the semester. So if you all enjoyed this video, then please remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel to see more content just like this in the future. Whenever you all do that for me, it helps me stay motivated to make more content for you all in the future. Once again, thank you all for watching. Until next time, bye!